good afternoon, everyone. Tim Nolan here with my business partner, Joe Cuny.
Good morning.
Hey, Joe, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Hey, we are Postal Blue Book Help, and this is our Going Postal podcast. So welcome, everyone. Welcome, Joe. We got our great crew in the studio here taking care of us and getting this rolling for us. So
First podcast.
Hey, there's a first time for everything, right?
That's right.
This is us. We're blue and red. Next time you see us, I'll probably be wearing red and you'll be wearing blue.
Or white. You never know.
You just never know. You never know. So, hey, how about that UPMA National Convention that we just had here in St. Louis?
Unbelievable. Yeah, huge turnout, 1,100 people. We actually hosted a hospitality night, which was fantastic. I bet we had 200 guests.
Yeah, easily.
Everybody enjoyed the food, great time. Really got to meet a lot of great people that we haven't met before.
We did.
We've been around for a little while, but, obviously haven't met everybody. So it was really good to sit down and get to know people more than just in passing at seminars and those sorts of things.
Absolutely. We saw a lot of familiar faces from previous state conventions that we attended with UPMA, but then, Joe, we met a lot of new people, as you said there.
Yep.
Great to see people from all over the country. I mean, met people from California and Oregon and Key West and
Puerto Rico.
We met a postmaster who is on her way to the U.S. Virgin Islands, and we picked her brain and said, hey, if you want a seminar for your postal employees, we raised our hand right away and said, we'll go to the Virgin Islands, right?
We'll be there to help. Absolutely.
That's right. And so, Joe, let's talk a little bit about why we decided to start this podcast, but also why we decided to start Postal Blue Book Help.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Really it was because we found a need with not only postal employees, but all federal employees. From talking to them, they were concerned about when they called shared services, the answers that they were getting. So Tim and I, through that process, had talked and figured out that if we educated ourselves on their benefits, we really could help them.
Yeah. And, one of the things I think we were in a audience with somebody talking about the different benefits, and we had somebody raise their hand and say that they had called shared services 3 times, asked the same question, talked to 3 different people, and got 3 different answers.
It's crazy.
That just baffles me. Long time ago, back when I was in corporate America, the HR department would do a great job of educating you about your benefits and options. And we've been really taken back by how many people we've talked to that have got incorrect information.
Yep, absolutely.
Incorrect information about your FERS pension, FEGLI, your health benefits, a lot of different things.
Spoke to a guy yesterday, didn't know he was 66 years of age, had been there, I think, 15 or 20 years, and didn't realize that he could retire. He wanted to know when they were going to let him retire.
Yeah, that's, you're with a company for so long, you put in your heart and soul into what you do, because we all like to take pride in what we do, and not even understanding when you can retire, and that you even, I've had as crazy as they didn't even know they had a pension.
Right.
And so that's where Joe and I really decided that it was time for us to get out and start educating people about their benefits, so that when the time comes that they're ready to run out the door, that they're educated.
Absolutely. And one thing, we got to know you guys a little bit, so we wanted to really introduce ourselves, to let you guys know who we are. So, Tim, if you would start with that would be great.
Yeah, absolutely. So, born and raised here in St. Louis, the Show Me State. Married for 20 years this past June to my lovely wife, Melissa, and have 2 great boys, Carson and Will. 16, junior in high school, and just a new freshman, Will, at 14 years old. So, born and raised, love to watch our St. Louis Cardinals, right?
Absolutely.
I think they're on the verge of potentially getting back to the World Series this year.
They look good.
They look real good.
Yep.
And then also golf, hanging out with friends and family, and building a business. We're educating people. To me, that's helping people. So we really enjoy doing that as well, and traveling. And
Yeah.
then, of course, we like to play golf. Those of you that have met us know that Joe and I like to play golf a lot.
A lot of golf.
So, but anyway, Joe,
Yeah.
why don't you introduce yourself?
So, really similar to Tim, been married for 20 years to my wife, Crystal, together, I guess, 24 years. We have a boy, Jake. He's 15. He's a sophomore, and a girl, Ella, 13, just turned 13. And as Tim knows, she's full of I say piss and vinegar. I probably shouldn't say that, but she is.
Going on 30, probably.
13 going on 30.
Right.
Absolutely. We live out in O'Fallon, Missouri, and grew up here in St. Louis. I grew up right over the river in Illinois, and really enjoy being here. Probably will never move, according to my wife.
Right.
But we do like being located in the middle of the country because we really, as far as work, can get anywhere in 3 hours by plane. So it makes our lives easier for the people that want us to come out and educate, do seminars. We can be on a plane and out and help them.
Yeah.
Within a day.
Yeah.
So
and we referenced that, and we'll give you guys more information about requesting a seminar in your local office here as part of this production. But you can also go out and visit our website at postalbluebookhelp.com and request that seminar. We know we talked with a lot of you this past week at the National Convention, and we had some forms in there for you to request that seminar. But if you misplaced it or didn't get to pick one up, please visit postalbluebookhelp.com and request your seminar. There's no cost to you or your office. As Joe mentioned, we'll hop on a plane, train, automobile, whatever, and come out and educate your folks about all of their benefits.
Like, and subscribe.
That's right.
That's what we're saying.
Exactly. Right? We talked about educating, and if we get into, no, we're not teachers by trade, but we do carry a designation that allows us to promote the education. Talk a little bit about our FRC designation, Joe.
Yeah, so we go through a pretty rigorous training program, being federal retirement consultants, to make sure that we know your benefits inside and out. Even with our reps, I mean, Tim and I have been doing this quite some time now, but even with our reps that come in and, help you guys out as well, we make sure that they're really completely qualified before they get on the phone and start helping you, which I think has been a huge asset to our company, making sure everybody knows the benefits inside and out before they make that first call.
Sure.
To help people out.
Yeah. And they're guys, we're not the only shop in town. There are plenty of companies like ours around the country, right? But we hold a special pride close to our heart that we have that FRC, Federal Retirement Consultant designation, that is acknowledged by FINRA, which is a regulatory body that, again, we had to go through the testing to understand and test our knowledge on all of your federal benefits. And, I mean things like your FERS pension, FEGLI, your life insurance, FEB, your health benefit, the special supplement for those that are eligible for that, Social Security, and of course, probably the biggest question we get right now is about your TSP. So in this podcast series, this is again episode 1. We're going to go through in each episode and talk about one of those benefits. We don't want to rush through them real quick. We want to make sure that our folks out here that are listening and watching understand what we're talking about and have a very thorough knowledge about each benefit. And I think this first episode, I think it'd be great for us to just talk about the FERS pension, because that's one of the things why people go work for the federal government, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when I look at going back on my life, if everybody could have a pension, I mean, we'd be on board with that.
Yeah.
The only people that really have pensions anymore are federal employees and people in a union, right?
And teachers.
And teachers,
sure.
Right? If we could all have that,
right,
I mean, life would be great. But unfortunately, for some of us, right, we don't have that option.
Right. I mean, we have gray hair, but
well, some of us have gray and some of us have none.
Correct.
Right.
None. There's some up there, right?
I got a little spot missing in the back.
Right. That's why he's leaning back like this.
That's right. You guys can't see
light
that.
right here doesn't reflect off his head like it is off of mine. All right. So let's talk about, Joe, let's get into FERS pension eligibility. Now, we do come across some folks, a lot of you retired postmasters and MPOs out there may be from the CSRS, Civil Service Retirement System, but majority of who we're seeing at these conventions and the seminars that we're doing are from the FERS system, Federal Employee Retirement System. All right. So let's get into the FERS and talk about the eligibility to retire, because that's a big topic. Joe mentioned the gentleman he spoke with yesterday who was unaware, being 66 years old and having a number of years in service, that he was even eligible to retire. That just baffles me.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. It just shows that the lack of education is out there. Now, a lot of you might be educated on your benefits, not to the extreme that Tim and I are, and that's what we're in place to help you guys with. But, it's unfortunate that some people run into that issue.
Right.
Yep.
Yep.
So the first part of eligibility, or the first one of the 3 or 4 ways to be eligible for retirement, would be age 62 with 5 years of service.
Yep.
So most of you have more years of service than that, but some of you get into the Postal Service or the federal government a little bit later in your life. So that would be the first way to qualify for an immediate annuity. I call it a pension, but an immediate annuity.
Yeah. Yeah. And you guys are actually called, when you retire, an annuitant. Every federal employee, not just postal, are called annuitants because the pension is an annuity, right? It's a guaranteed to pay you a lifetime income stream for the rest of your life. Right.
And I think sometimes people get confused between their pension or their annuity and their TSP, because the government says, on the side of their TSP page that you can annuitize your TSP.
Right.
So it gets a little bit confusing. They're 2 separate entities.
Right.
So I just want to make that clear.
Yeah. Yeah. Great point there, Joe. And we'll get into TSP as one of our subjects in one of our next episodes. But let's talk about the second eligibility and what that is.
So it's 60 years old with 20 years of service.
Right, right. So 60 years old, 20 years of service, and you'll be eligible for an immediate pension annuity.
Right. Yep.
Right. And then the third one.
The third way is MRA, which is minimum retirement age with 30 years of service.
Yep. So MRA. The Postal Service, you guys have a catalog of acronyms, as does the federal government in itself. But MRA, minimum retirement age, which ranges anywhere from 56 years old to up to 57. So 56 in 2 months, 4 months, 6 months, etc., all the way up to 57 years old.
Just depends on the year that you're born.
Right. It goes by your year of birth, and then MRA plus 30 years of service, you're eligible for a full retirement pension.
Yep.
Right. Now, there is a caveat to that, the fourth way, if you will, of MRA in 10 years.
Yep.
Right? Because I had somebody on the phone the other day who's met their MRA, and they've been there 11 years. All right. But there is an asterisk to that. And talk about that, Joe, with MRA in 10 years.
Yeah. So MRA in 10 years, what they're going to do is they're going to reduce your pension by 5% a year until you hit the age of 62.
Right. And why do you think they use age 62?
Because that is the age when you can first claim Social Security.
Right. Right. But, and so the conversation that I had with this person the other day was they hit their MRA, which was 57. They had been there 11 years, but their hair was on fire. Not mine, I don't have any, but their hair was on fire and they were ready to run out the door.
Right.
And I cautioned them. I said, let's pause for a second. Let's talk about this. Do you want to give up 25%, that 5% per year until age 62 and retire now? Right.
Yep.
So there is an alternative for them. right? They could defer their pension, right, until 62. So then essentially at 57, they've already reached the 57 and 10. They could
Wait
quit.
the 5 years.
Right.
Yep.
They could quit. And then at age 62, file their SF 3107, their retirement paperwork,
Right.
at 62 years old. Then they'd have 62 and 5 or more years and then be eligible for it. Now, there is a caveat to that also with regards to their health insurance. By quitting at 57, they won't have their health insurance. All right. So again, just from an education standpoint, folks, we want to make sure that you are fully educated about your options. And that's what we will do when we come out and do these seminars for you, which you can check again at postalbluebookhelp.com. But we'll come out and we'll do a full education on all these 5 topics for you right in your hometown. We don't come to the post office. They don't allow us in there. We don't come in there. We've heard it's crazy in there too, right?
Yep.
So, excuse me. So we'll go in and we'll get a hotel or a library.
Yeah.
Like we did in South Carolina.
Plenty of space. And just to, be clear on that, you guys, the 5% reduction, or not reduction, but the 5% penalty a year, 57 to 62 is 5 years. And then you would multiply 5 by 5, which would be a 25% reduction out of your pension. That's a fourth of your pension. And by the time they take all the deductions out,
right,
your health insurance,
yep,
it's a huge amount of money. So would highly, highly recommend sticking it out if you can.
Sure.
We wouldn't recommend taking a reduction unless you're just at your wit's end.
Sure. And it'd be better off to take a deferred, what
sure,
I talked about. Now, again, it depends on your situation. If you have a spouse that's working and that can provide the health benefits for you, and your hair's on fire, you got to get out of there.
Sure.
And you're going to go find another place of employment. You're able to quit, defer that pension. Don't pick it up until 62.
Right.
Right.
Yep.
So folks, we're going to have, feel free to go out to our website, postalbluebookhelp.com. Ask us questions, send us an email, and we can schedule also, if you're not ready for that seminar, and you want to just have a one-on-one conversation, we do one-on-one appointments via Zoom, Microsoft Teams, or simply over the phone just to answer some questions.
Sure.
And, we failed to mention, Joe, at the beginning of this, the seminars as well as the one-on-one conversations, Zoom calls. What's the cost? What do we charge them?
Zero cost.
No cost, folks.
Yep.
So we are educational consultants. We don't charge you for helping you understand your benefits. And it's a great way for you to educate yourself, but also your staff.
Well, and just to be completely transparent, what company, for-profit company, does things for free?
Right.
So why don't you get a little bit into that and how we actually make money?
Sure, absolutely. So we like to say we are a 3-legged stool, right? We focus on 3 areas. The first area could be that we could potentially get compensated on, not by you, is if we help you when you turn 65 and you're eligible for Medicare, right? Medicare season is almost upon us here in October. It's the annual election period that folks can go on, or if you're aging into age 65, right? 3 months before your 65th birthday, the month of your 65th birthday, and 3 months after your 65th birthday, you're eligible to enroll in Medicare Parts A and B.
Right.
Right.
Which is, for postal workers, going to be a topic of discussion, as we know.
Yep.
Most of you probably know, but some of you might not. There's some things coming up on the horizon with that.
Yep, for 2025, and we're going to have a specific episode that we will dive into that as legislation and the rules come further towards us, and they confirm everything, because there's still some things up in the air on that. But we'll have a specific episode, folks, that we will talk to you about so that you understand how your federal employee health benefits, and Medicare are going to work together.
Yep.
So we'll make sure to follow up with everyone on that for sure. So that's one leg of the stool. I wouldn't say that these are in any particular order. But secondly, life insurance. So you guys have some great life insurance, FEGLI, Federal Employee Group Life Insurance, but it's group life insurance. It's a term policy, right? term policies have any value to you while you're living?
Renting versus owning.
Correct. You want rent an apartment, or you want to own your home?
Right.
Right. FEGLI. So sometimes we find, as our conversations evolve with our clients, that as they get older, every 5 years, your FEGLI goes up in price.
Correct.
I mean, we've seen it, Joe, as high as when somebody's retiring and they want to keep their 5 times their coverage to be somewhat of $400 to $500 a month,
which is crazy for a term.
But also, can you think about, let's say you have a $1,500 a month pension, and then $500 of that is going to be for life insurance?
It's not sustainable.
It's not. It's not. So some of the things that we talk with you folks is we say, hey, we can compare what you've paid into and or what you would pay in the future into FEGLI versus something on the outside market that wouldn't go up in price and that would benefit you while you're working there still and then into retirement, knowing that you're going to be on a fixed budget, right?
And holds cash value.
Correct. It's going to have some type of value to it. So if you think about it, and we'll do all the math for you, what you've paid into FEGLI, whether it's beyond basic, because you guys as postal workers, you have basic for free, right, when you're working, okay? But if you have options A, B, or C, and we're not going to go in deep of those, but you're paying a pretty hefty bill. So we have solutions, and if we have one of those solutions for you and you choose to take it, we're licensed with a number of carriers, and they compensate us, all right? So that's that second leg of the stool. Third leg of the stool, probably the biggest one that we get questions on now, is the good old TSP.
Yep. How do I protect my money?
Yeah.
Everybody right now, the calls we're getting is first question. I'm losing money.
Right.
What do I do? And we're going to get in depth on that on a different episode, but we do have solutions for that as well.
Absolutely. There's a lot of different things that you can do inside of that TSP. And a lot of people, you think about it, if you're retiring next week or next year, you might want to protect some money.
And the G fund isn't the answer, folks.
That's correct. The G fund is not the guaranteed fund. It's the government bond fund.
Right.
But there are ways that we can help you with that. So if we would help you roll over any of your money into another IRA, keeping it tax deferred if it's tax deferred money, or if it's a Roth TSP, keeping it as tax-free money, we do have solutions for that. So those 3 things: Medicare, life insurance, and TSP retirement. If we help you with any of those, no cost to you. The companies that we are contracted with, they pay us a one-time compensation.
Yep.
All right. So we always say it in our conversations over the phone or on a Zoom or when we're in our seminars. Rest easy. We're not going to send you a bill. There's not going to be, Joe's not going to be at the door of the seminar, give me your credit card, let's swipe for this. There's never a charge.
Right.
And we take pride in that because there are a lot of companies out there that do charge for their services. And
Blue Book.
That was the next thing I was going to talk about.
Yeah. Crazy that people are getting what they're getting to help people fill out the Blue Book.
Right. Well, now we've heard that it's called a white book. Right. And I guess that's because the government just decided they didn't want to buy blue paper. But nevertheless, and all you retirees out there will always see it as a blue book. And probably anyone that's within 5 years of retirement, you've been with the post office for a long time, you think of it as a blue book as well. Hence our great name, Postal Blue Book Help.com.
Right. And just so you guys know, that when they send you that retirement paper, the blue book, as we like to call it,
right.
It's 150 pages, and you only need about 9 of those pages. So if any of you are getting ready to retire, reach out to Tim and I, postalbluebookhelp.com, bottom of the screen, whatever we put down there on this first episode. And we'd be happy to help you fill that paperwork out free of charge.
Yep, absolutely. There are, again, competitors out there that are charging, we've heard as much as $750 to fill out 9 pages of paper.
15 minutes of work.
Right. But do know that the decisions you make on that paperwork, what survivorship you want for your first pension, if you want FEGLI, if you don't, all sorts of those things, they're irreversible once you turn that paperwork in, okay? So that's why we want to make sure that, and we will fill it out for you, send it to you, give the instructions of what you need to do, where you need to sign an initial and notarize and all that kind of stuff at no charge.
Yep. Extremely important. Don't fill it out by yourself unless you've done it before. If you have questions and you can fill 50% of it out and you're not sure about the other 50%, reach out to us, guys. It just makes good business sense to make sure that you guys are filling it out properly.
Yep. Well, Joe, I mean, is there anything else that we should touch on this episode, or, was that pretty successful first episode?
I think it was.
Yeah. Hey guys, we'd like to thank everyone for watching. Please make sure you like and subscribe here on our page. Go out to postalbluebookhelp.com. Let us know if we can help you with anything. And for those of you that are watching that we have helped, please also, we'd appreciate a great review on postalbluebookhelp.com. I'm Tim Nolan.
Joe Cuny.
We are Postal Blue Book Help, and this has been the Goin Postal Episode 1 podcast. Thanks so much. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, guys.